Okay, so I watched Oppenheimer and I really loved the movie. Well, most of it. I know this might be a hot take, but I was a little disappointed by the explosion of the bomb. Christopher Nolan, in true Nolan fashion, chose to not use any digital visual effects for the film, which means everything you see on screen was actually captured in camera. And that got me thinking, could I make a better explosion using 3D visual effects? Alright, and I only have 2 days, no budget, and I'm alone. Also, the biggest 3D animation challenge is being hosted by Clinton Jones right now, so I thought I'd just combine my desire to create a photorealistic explosion with a submission for the challenge. Alright, let's get started. First off, I had to download the animation template, which already contains the camera moves and the final scene's basic composition. The story of the scene for the challenge is that a small hero character has to face a gigantic monster. I wanted to have Oppenheimer as the hero facing the very monster he created, the atomic bomb. Alright, but before doing anything else, I needed to nail that explosion, because if that didn't work out, I had to scrap the whole project anyway. And I've never made a 3D explosion that big before. First, I tried simulating an explosion in my go-to 3D software Blender, but I failed horribly. But then I remembered that the smoke simulation software Embergen is totally free for all of August thanks to the challenge. So I used one of the explosion presets, and not gonna lie, I spent a good 5 hours trying to get the explosion to look right. But in the end I had this. Back in Blender I switched out the big character for my explosion and added some glowing atmosphere, which looked pretty cool. But we still need way more detail for the scene. So I applied a sand texture to the ground and imported a few random building models that I found online. The first nuclear bomb actually wasn't dropped from an airplane, it was set off in this tower in the middle of the New Mexico desert. So I modeled the tower real quick and put it into the background. On day 2 I had to do something about the hero character. Obviously there is no photorealistic 3D scan of Oppenheimer online, but I found this guy on Mixamo, and if we only look at him from the back, it actually kinda works. I applied this idle standing animation to him and brought him into Blender. Oppenheimer is always wearing his hat, so I downloaded this head model and parented it to the head bone of him. Then I animated him covering his face, and I gave him this sheet of glass that they also have in the movie so they wouldn't get blinded by the flash. I made the lighting on him a little more interesting and also put a lamp above the tower to make it more clearly visible. I used some hills from Megascans for the background and placed this truck closer to the camera. For the shockwave I used another smoke simulation from Embergen, and I positioned it so it would hit right before the end of the shot. Another thing the challenge demanded was that the animation had to include a sense of slow motion, and my plan to achieve that was having a bird fly really slowly. I did that by just stretching the animation keyframes of the bird, and that's it. Then I planted some dry grass and scattered a few pebbles on the ground. In the movie there is this shot of the countdown timer thing, and I had to include that in my scene as well. But when I tried making a clock, it really didn't work out. So just to flex his geometry node skills, Mel from the Discord server made this completely procedural clock in Blender. You can download it for free from the link in the description. Lastly, I put the clock on the table next to Oppenheimer. Well, and that's basically it. Blender takes forever to render smoke and explosions, so after 62 hours of rendering, I finally had a finished animation. So if you guys show me that you really enjoy the animation, maybe I'll revisit the project and try to recreate the whole explosion scene from the movie. Alright, enjoy.
3, 2, 1, now.
The flash was later calculated to be brighter than 1,000 suns.